Welcome back to the show, History Buffs. I'm Hari.
And I'm Kimi. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the story of a unit that was literally there at the birth of the Royal Australian Air Force, Number 1 Aircraft Depot, or Number 1 AD for short.
Established in July 1921, Number 1 AD was the ultimate behind-the-scenes powerhouse. In fact, by the time it was disbanded in 1994, it was the oldest RAAF unit in continuous operation. Some historians even call it the oldest continuously operating maintenance depot of any Air Force period.
Which is incredible when you look at its humble beginnings. It didn't even start in one place. Before it officially came together at RAAF Point Cook in Victoria, it was split into two Melbourne detachments. One was at Spotswood, unpacking the Imperial Gift, which was a donation of 128 surplus World War I aircraft and spare parts from Great Britain. The other was in North Fitzroy, fixing motor vehicles.
A gift of 128 surplus warplanes sounds like the ultimate DIY project. But when they consolidated at Point Cook, they ran into a pretty major snag: the seaside air. Turns out, salty ocean breezes and delicate aircraft metal do not mix well. It was incredibly corrosive.
Not to mention, Point Cook lacked any railway infrastructure to move massive aircraft parts. So, in 1921, the government bought land about 8 kilometers inland at Laverton, right near a railway station. While the land itself cost just over £3,500, it reportedly cost a whopping £300,000 to construct the facilities for their new home, and the unit finally relocated there in March 1926.
That Laverton base became known as the warehouse of the Air Force. But they weren't just sitting around in hangars. In the late 1920s, Number 1 AD supported major survey flights to map out the continent. They helped launch the Northern Survey Flight in 1927, and later that year, the Papuan Survey Flight, which used Supermarine Seagull amphibious biplanes to photograph the rugged coasts of Papua and New Guinea.
And let's talk about one of their coolest, lesser-known adventures, a rescue mission in Antarctica. In December 1935, the explorer Lincoln Ellsworth went missing on a trans-Antarctic flight. Number 1 AD's workshops, under squadron leader Arthur Murphy, had to specially modify a Westland wapiti and a gypsy moth to withstand freezing polar conditions. The rescue team successfully located Ellsworth, thanks in large part to those custom-modified planes.
That's classic Aussie resourcefulness. But as the 1930s drew to a close, things got much more intense. Number 1 AD went from about 350 staff members to a massive wartime strength of over 2,300 personnel during World War II. Think of the sheer variety of aircraft they had to handle. They were assembling, testing, and repairing everything from humble Tiger Moth trainers to Spitfires, Kitty Hawks, and even battle-damaged American B-17 Flying Fortresses.
And they weren't just turning wrenches, they were also doing critical research and development. When the Australian-designed Boomerang fighter was first delivered to them in 1942, Number 1 AD conducted 6 months of intense trials. They discovered some terrifying bugs, like the aircraft's guns freezing solid at high altitudes and deadly carbon monoxide gas leaking into the cockpit.
Yikes! Getting carbon monoxide poisoning while dogfighting is definitely a worst-case scenario. Thankfully, the depot's team identified and overcame those issues before the planes were dispatched to operational units.
Exactly. They also had a knack for finding practical engineering solutions. One of their wartime commanding officers, Wing Commander John LaRue, investigated a Volti Vengeance crash and realized the pilot's safety harness had released accidentally. So he designed a simple clip to prevent that from happening. His design was so successful, it was adopted for all RAAF safety harnesses.
It's amazing how a simple mechanical clip can save countless lives. After the war, the depot shifted gears again, introducing the very first jets to the RAAF. In 1946, they hosted the first flight of a Gloster Meteor in Australia, and by 1947, they assembled the country's first Vampire jet.
They also received the RAAF's very first helicopter, a Sikorsky S-51, in 1947, and for a bit of luxury, they even fitted out a Douglas Dakota with an office, a lounge suite, and a kitchenette to serve as the Governor General's personal VIP transport.
A kitchenette in a Dakota? That's definitely flying in style. But as the decades rolled on, the nature of air warfare changed. In 1961, No. 1 AD stopped doing airframe maintenance entirely, focusing instead on aero engines. And by 1968, even the engine work was transferred to Amberley to prepare for the new F-111C swing-wing bombers.
So what did No. 1 AD do after that? They became the ultimate ground support and high-tech specialists. From the late 60s through the 80s, they managed telecommunications, radar systems, airfield navigation, and even specialized fields like electroplating, fiber optics, and advanced electronics for the FA-18 Hornet jets.
But the winds of restructuring and outsourcing in the 90s eventually caught up with him. On December 2, 1994, after 73 years of continuous faithful service, No. 1 Aircraft Depot was officially disbanded.
An incredible legacy of keeping the RAAF safe, modern, and in the air. What a journey from a salty, rusty hangar to advanced fiber optics.
It really is the story of Australian aviation itself. Thank you all for listening to this episode of our podcast.
Indeed, thank you. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article, No. 1 Aircraft Depot, RAAF, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence,